Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming to find more out about Metro Reimagined. I look forward to unveiling the service plan and also helping our customers through the changes that are going to be happening in just over a month from now. I'm Jessica Mefford Miller. I am Metro's Executive Director of Transit. I'm happy to be here tonight, and I'm joined by a number of team members who are here. We're all eager to assist our customers. We want to talk with you and find out about your specific needs and how we can meet them with the newly redesigned system that launches on September 30th. So tonight we're really here to inform, educate you, to make sure that you're prepared for the changes that are coming. Now this is the first major overhaul of the Metro Transit system, of Metro Bus, in about 10 years. Our last major change was in 2009 when we opened the Blue Lines, or the Cross County Metrolink extension, as some of you know it. So it is time for a system refresh. All of our Missouri Metro Bus routes are going to change in some way on September 30th, whether that's a routing change or a schedule change. Stay tuned next year in 2020 for changes to Metro Bus service in St. Clair County, Illinois. We've been working on Metro Reimagined for the past 2 years. Through that process, we've received input from our customers, communities, employers, elected officials, and other key stakeholders about what they expect of our transit system that is either specific to them or to the community that they serve. This feedback has gone into the Metro Reimagined planning process. This is now, I believe, the 4th plan or vision that we're unveiling. This is the final plan that's going to be implemented on September 30th. We want to hear your feedback tonight. We want to help you through the changes. But this is the plan that will be implemented. Now, after September 30th, as we always do with service changes, we're going to monitor how the service performs. We're going to listen to feedback from our customers and our team members. And there will be some minor changes following the implementation. And so any feedback you give us tonight, if we're able to respond to that, will most likely come after September 30th. So after our presentation tonight, we have team members ready to stand by. Some are in this room, others are going to be at the table. They have all of the schedules that will soon be available online, that are already available via our transit app, to make sure you have the information that you need. So why reimagine transit in St. Louis? We recognize that any change to transit service can be a disruption for some of our customers. So why are we doing it? Transit agencies like ours typically redesign their bus systems every 5 to 10 years, so it is time for us. In the last 5 years or so, we've lost a significant amount of ridership at Metro Transit, about 20%. Now, there are a variety of reasons why ridership has gone down, but we need to ensure that the service we're providing to our communities meets the needs of our customers now and into the future. And we aim to create a transit system that has stable and ideally growing ridership. We know that travel patterns change, where people work, where people live evolves over time, and what people expect of their mobility options evolves over time as well. We also have to respond to our financial reality. Metro Transit is supported by your passenger fares, thank you very much, as well as sales tax proceeds collected in the communities we serve. So we have to ensure every year that the service level we're putting out on the street can be supported by those revenue sources. Fundamentally, what Metro Reimagined is doing is it's matching different mobility solutions to the many different markets we serve. So in the city of St. Louis and St. Louis County, we've got dense residential areas and urban neighborhoods. We have suburban job centers, a lot of which have grown in recent years and need different service to meet their needs. Now, within the transit industry, we've got a lot of different tools and types of service that we can use to meet our customers' needs. Right now, today, Metro Bus service operates roughly every 30, 40, or 60 minutes, depending on the route. There's not a great deal of variability in the service levels that we're providing, though there is a lot of variation in the demand in the communities we serve. So we're matching or right-sizing the service to meet the needs of our communities and our routes. The mobility solutions I'm going to talk about tonight include 3 broad different categories. One is enhanced frequent service. And when we think of frequent service in the transit industry, we think of service that runs at least every 15 minutes. Today, we're running that kind of frequency on Metrolink and on 70 Grand. That's our busiest bus. we don't have frequent service in many of our communities, including those that are pretty dense and could really support more transit service. Most of our 550 square mile service area needs some kind of transit access, but perhaps can't support a route that runs every 15 minutes. And for that, we have supporting local service. And then finally, we have community partnerships or first and last mile solutions for places that need transit, but might not need a 40-foot bus operating at least every 30 minutes during peak period. So we've got some routes that are going to have more limited service that's tailored to those time periods when that route is busy. So let's take a look at this system and some of the concepts. So through this process, the Metro Reimagined process, we really dug deep into the productivity, the needs of each of these individual routes. And when you do that, they begin to separate themselves into different categories. Just 10 of our more than 84, actually we have exactly 84 Metrobus routes today. Of those 84 routes, half of the ridership on a typical day is taking place on just 10 routes. So those 10 routes stand head and shoulders above the rest and really demand a different level of frequency. Now, industry best practice, but also our customer feedback when we started this back in 2017, tells us that frequency, the number of times an hour you've got an option to get on board a bus, is what matters most to transit riders. When you get to that frequent level of service, at least every 15 minutes, is the difference between being able to walk out the door and catch that bus without relying on a schedule to plan your trip around. And once you get above 15 minutes, you've got a route coming every 30 minutes, you really do have to plan. Those of you who are transit riders know this. This is how we plan our trips on a day-to-day basis. So more than just frequency, which also lends itself to better connections. When you've got routes operating more often, those connections on the street are smoother. It also gets you where you need to go faster. And the other thing that gets you where you need to go faster is creating more direct routes. We have spread the Metrobus system over the last 15 years or so to try and reach so many different destinations and communities across the region. But the result of that has been sometimes meandering routes that take quite a while to get from one end of the line to the other. And that can be a challenge when someone is choosing whether to use transit or to arrive by a different mobility opportunity. So streamlining and straightening those routes is another one of the goals of Metro Reimagined. So the major change within the system right now, our frequencies are about every 40 minutes or 60 minutes. So what you'll see now is going to more clock-based frequencies every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes, and then in the off-peak time, we've got routes that are coming every 60 minutes. Now, if you're a transit rider, it's very helpful. If you're on one of those 30-minute routes, you know that your bus is coming at 9 after the hour and 39 after the hour. It makes it much easier and more intuitive to use, and it also strengthens those connections on the street and at our major transit centers. So the benefits of it are reducing travel time by creating more direct routes, more frequency, which reduces your wait time and improves our connections. We're creating purpose-driven service. So we're thinking really deliberately about the markets that we serve and trying to match that with the right product. In this case, our product is transit service or mobility solutions. The network is also going to be a little bit easier to understand. If any of you have been new to the St. Louis region or have tried to navigate to a new place, you'll know that today some of our routes are pretty long and it can be confusing and create some uneasiness for our customers trying to use transit. Another piece of Metro Reimagined that you'll see in 2020 is customer-focused amenities. We're already doing a little bit of this now with technology solutions. I hope you downloaded the Transit app if you have access to a smartphone. We also have a new desktop trip planning application. We've recently launched text messaging service, so you can text us in our customer service call center. You can also text us in our Metro Public Safety Dispatch Center. So we're trying to find ways to meet our customers where you are and communicate with you and be responsive to you in real time. Soon we'll begin to make investments in infrastructure on the street at our major transfer points to facilitate really easier on-street transfers, especially from one busy route to another. So stay tuned for that, and those will be called community mobility hubs. So I want to give you just a little bit of a flavor of what our frequent network looks like. The purple routes shown here, the red and blue is actually Metrolink, but our purple routes are our enhanced frequent network. These 10 routes operate at least every 15 minutes during its core span of service. So this frequent network expands what we consider our spine of the system. Today, Metrolink is the spine, and we've got a lot of routes feeding into Metrolink, precisely because we can move a lot of people very quickly. Now, these bus routes won't have the capacity that light rail service does, but it's going to have that service level, that 15-minute frequency. And finally, of course, those 10 routes don't reach every place, neither does Metrolink. And so we've had to design a suite of routes that operate at least every 30 minutes. This service tier is really the core of the system. By the miles, most of the routes in the Metro Reimagined network are in this local tier of service that runs every 30 minutes. A big difference in these local routes from the service it has today, many of them are moving from coming every 40 minutes to now coming every 30 minutes, and a number of them have been straightened out a little bit or streamlined. And then finally, we've got a suite of routes. We've got 6 express routes. Now, express routes in transit and here in St. Louis are routes that connect people typically Monday through Friday just during peak period to major employment centers. In our case, that's the Central West End and downtown St. Louis. And then we have 6 other community routes that operate on a more limited schedule, so they're not running early morning to early night, where we know that there's a need for transit, but that need might not be 5 in the morning until 11 o'clock p.m. or beyond. So those are our community mobility routes shown in green, and especially on these routes, we worked very closely with employers, businesses, and residents to really fine-tune the service schedule. So what are the benefits and impacts? So of our current customers, the vast majority are going to have a mile footprint of the Metrobus service area. It is a reduced footprint. So the trade-off between operating more frequent service with the same amount of money that we're spending today is losing a little bit of that service coverage. We're also really trying to concentrate the service during the times of day when it's most needed. So some of our earliest morning trips that happen in the 4 or 5 a.m. hour, some of our latest night trips that happen from 12 a.m. until 1 a.m. won't be there anymore. We've also really tried to concentrate our peak periods of service where it's needed most. And the result is that thousands of people will have access to improved service, to a higher level of service. At the beginning of our conversation, I mentioned those top 10 routes carry half of our customers. So just by creating that enhanced frequent network, we're delivering a higher level of service to half of Metrobus customers on day one. Now we're going to continue to work through evaluating the system once we implement it on Monday, September 30th. We know that the St. Louis region hopefully will continue to grow. It certainly will continue to evolve. And so over time, we'll periodically take a look at these markets and these routes and make adjustments to them to ensure that we're offering the right product for the market. So how can we plan for the change? How do we get ready for this? So we're doing an in-person engagement tonight. We have online engagement. I mentioned Transit App Trip Planner. In the Transit app, you can set your schedule to September 30th and plan a sample trip. That's one of the most easy and intuitive ways, I think, to get to know the Reimagined network in advance. We'll have Metro ambassadors, as I mentioned, on board our buses starting tomorrow, talking with our customers, educating them, and preparing them for the change. You can reach Metro Customer Service. We're there Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. at 231-2345. And if you haven't saved this number yet, I really encourage you to do so. You can send us a text message to Metro Customer Service at 314-207-9786. And of course, you can visit our project website, which is our landing page, metrostlouis.org/reimagined. So we've got some other interrelated efforts beyond Metro Reimagined that are worth mentioning tonight. Transit Vision 2020 is what we call comprehensive operational analysis. It's the Metro Reimagined, if you will, in St. Clair County, Illinois. Now, their routes haven't had a major overhaul in about 20 years. So we're due for a change, and we're conducting a similar effort there. I expect that service change will launch in 2020. Stay tuned for the date and more on that. We're also working on security. Security, aside from service design and budget, is the thing I spend most of my time on. We have begun creating a new comprehensive security program. We've made a lot of changes to deployment. We've got new contracts coming with our law enforcement partners. Soon we'll have a new contract security team on board. Later in September, we'll welcome new leadership to Metro's public safety team. I'm very excited about this team that is focused explicitly on the customer experience, creating a safer system, not just on MetroLink, but across MetroBus for our team members and our customers. We're also going to be working on those mobility hubs that I mentioned. Those are the capital improvements out there in the communities we serve on the lines for our customers. Right now, we're redesigning 5 of our original MetroLink stations. They're 26 years old now, if you can believe that. Some of them are in 19th century rail tunnels. So we've got a little bit of work to do. I'm very excited about that. And then finally, our first delivery of battery electric buses is on the way. You'll be seeing some changes in our fleet over time. Some of our routes, as we replace buses, are going to get smaller vehicles where we don't have very large passenger volumes, or when we need to turn in residential areas that aren't great for a 40-foot bus. Our first battery electric buses, we'll have 4 later this year. Those will be 40-foot buses, and we're going to run them throughout the system. The first full route to get our battery electric buses is going to be the number 70 Grand. That's the route that has those 60-foot articulated buses on that. So I'm very excited to be replacing the articulated buses when they retire with battery electric technology. And then once we get there each year, you'll see more battery electric buses join our fleet. This concludes my portion of the presentation. I would like to welcome each of you to spend time talking with our team members. We've got a team of MetroBus, MetroLink, and planning team members here to talk with you tonight. We want to hear your feedback. We've got comment forms. We'll also take verbal feedback and record that so that it's entered into our record if you haven't given us feedback already, or even if you have and you really want to make that point home. So thank you for your time. I'm going to walk out to the lobby area with our team members, and we've got complete schedules too if you've got questions about the routes. Thank you.